you have to give a big shout out to both artists. Because across Africa, this is something that we're preaching. Whether it's Nigeria, we want Whiskey, Davido, Burna Boy to come together. Whether it's Ghana, we want Shatta Wale, Stone Boys, Sarkodie to come together. You don't need a live band. Rema just headlined at the Afrofuture in Ghana. Do you know how many people were on stage with Rema? Let me tell you. He's DJ and hype man, and he's electronic guitarist. The third person was Rema, about 6-7 years ago. His live music has been dubbed in. So his sound engineer just presses play whilst Chris Brown is on stage. And he allows him to do more with the stage because he has about 15 dancers, different types of sets. If he carries the band along with that, that will be a lot of stress. So I think a lot of people that are criticizing the band also need to get out of, you know, this community. The hook is what captivates me, and that's what's going to sell the song.
The hook is hooking.
And of course, the hook is hooking. But Diamond Platinum's verse, we already see what that's doing on social media. You know, if you're from Rwanda, when you release music, you must be going to Uganda. You must be going to Tanzania. You must be going to Burundi. You have to go to Kenya. Those are the markets that will help you to elevate the music and to go into their diaspora market. So for me, those are the key points.
The Choice Live.
All right, now thank you so much, DJ Mo. Happy New Year to everybody watching Sibo TV right now. Jenny Phil Peter, nizere ko meze neza cyane. Mumeze mute aho muri hirya no hino amajyepfo, amajyaruguru, iburasirazuba ndetse n'uburengera bwaryo, nibagiwe n'umujyi wa Kigali n'abadukurikira bari hanze y'u Rwanda. Mwese turabashuje cyane. Umwaka mwawutangiye neza. Let me hope so. Tugiye kubana rero muri The Choice Live uyu munsi. DJ Mo yamaze kugera hano, mugenzi wanjye Babu nawe n'abandi baraza gukomeza kugenda batujoininga mu kanya gatoya. Ndizera ntashidikanya ko turaza kugerana ibihe byiza cyane. Hagati ngaho rero umutumirwa wa mbere akaba yamaze kugera muri studio, turibuze kwakira. Turavuga no ku makuru menshi atandukanye yabaye mu mpera z'umwaka ushize. Harimo ibitaramo icya Kevin Kade, sibyo Mo? Harimo ibitaramo byinshi bitandukanye. Icya Kevin Kade cyabereye hariya muri roundabout ya KCC. Harimo igitaramo cha Bruce Melody na The Band cyaraye kibaye kuri ARENA. Hari indi show yabereye muri golf. Yarimo Element, yarimo yarimo Kenny Soul. Harimo abantu benshi cyane. Hari n'ibyagiye bibera mu ntara byinshi bitandukanye. Ari stories nyinshi, ari abagenzi bacu bafunzwe, ari abafunguwe, ari ibintu byinshi cyane. You know, icyo usabwa wowe no kwicara imbere ya TV yawe, relax and enjoy the show. Also gentlemen from Nigeria, umwe mu bagabo bahagarariye cyangwa bashyigikira Afrobeat ku isi ari hano muri studio, is here with us, and he's one of the best, Mr. ADESOPE. Welcome to the show, man.
Thank you very much for having me, my brother. It's a pleasure to be here.
It's a pleasure, man. How you feeling?
Listen, I'm feeling great. I'm surprised that we all can wake up today and be very strong because we partied all night yesterday. From BK Arena to
the after parties.
Universe. It was,
you know, Bruce had a special after party. He actually tried to party with his fans. So we had to work the whole night.
It was very good, and I think it shows the level of superstardom that someone like Bruce has.
True story.
After a great night with 10,000 fans, going to party with them was good.
Yeah, man. Let's talk about the energy you had last night, man. On the stage, it was crazy. It was amazing.
Yeah.
So you came for that reason?
Absolutely. So in the UK and around the world, I host concerts and festivals, you know, for the likes of Burna Boy, Whiskey, festivals like Afro Nation, Davido, the list goes on. So, you know, I also promote, of course, our people, African pop music, Afrobeats. So when I got the call that yesterday was going to happen, because Bruce and the Ben being two of the biggest artists in East Africa, definitely two of the biggest from Rwanda, a concert like that, we have to be there to witness it. So I came here not only to witness it as a fan or someone of the culture, but also just to bring a little bit of energy to hype it up before the big superstars get on stage.
Yeah, man. It was crazy, bro.
Yes,
it was
sir.
crazy. I love the energy.
Thank you so much.
Everything was top notch. 100%. I like it. How did you see the reaction, the feedback from the fans? When you got on stage, how have you seen the feedback?
It was good. You know, the one thing I know about people here in Kigali especially is they love to have fun. They know good music. They like energy. When the performances is right, you people are spoiled with great performances. I think East Africans in general like live music and live feedback. So if you're entertaining them, once you bring the energy to the table, the reaction was fantastic. They've been listening to good music all evening. It had gotten to the point where it's time for the headliners to come on. So the job that myself, and my lovely sister had to do on stage was very simple. The fans were already excited. They wanted to see the superstars. All we had to do was just give them a little bit more, so when the artists come on stage, they can take that energy to the next level. And again, this is not my first time in Kigali and going around and experiencing music culture. I know one thing for sure: people love to have fun. So as long as you're showing them that you're having fun, they're going to send that energy back to you. And that's what I got yesterday night.
Yeah. And you did what you do best, because it's not the first show that you've hosted. I saw you on the Afro Nation.
Yes.
Was it your first time to host the Afro Nation?
No, I have been a host on Afro Nation since 2019, since it started. Every single year, we've gone from Portugal, we've gone to Puerto Rico, we've gone to Ghana multiple times. So I've continuously been, very, very grateful to be a part of the hosting duties of Afro Nation. I've seen, some of the biggest moments, 45, 50,000 people I've hosted in front of them. So it's a blessing, it's a blessing to be in that position, to work with such great artists and organizations that want the best for their fans. So bringing in the BK Arena yesterday, one thing I noticed is, yes, I've been on stages with festivals, I was in Ghana a couple of days ago, hosting for Sarkodie, one of the biggest musicians in Ghana and in Africa in general. One of the baddest rappers on the continent, who's now taking his Rapaholic to London on the 6th of March at the Royal Albert Hall. But when I get into these rooms where it's not about a festival, it's about particular artists, but fans have come out to see that artist with the same energy, it feels like a festival. That's 10,000 people in BK Arena yesterday. Anywhere in the world you go to sell 10,000 tickets, it's not a joke. I don't care whether it's your home, it's far away, anywhere, any artist, whether in America, most of the American rappers that you see in arenas, sometimes it's just 3,000 capacity venues, 4,000 capacity. To sell 10,000, you have to really give it to Ben and Bruce, and of course, the fans in Kigali, because they pay their hard-earned money to come and enjoy. And that's what we saw yesterday. They enjoyed everything all night and still had extra energy to go to the after party.
It's crazy. That's actually the reason why I spoke about you hosting the Afro Nation, because I wanted you to come up with a clear comparison with concerts here. Of course, comparing to the shows you've been to. Tell us a little bit about, the infrastructures as far as, events are concerned being here.
I've said it before when I came here months ago, that if there's one thing Rwanda needs to be proud of, the infrastructure you have here, a lot of countries in Africa don't have it. Yes.
You've been.
I'm from Nigeria. I was in Nigeria for 1 week. I went to different festivals and different concerts. Yes, we have outdoor spaces that people have to spend a lot of money to develop and put stages on, which people have done incredibly well, particularly this year. Flytime Festival, Future Festival with Whiskey, Davido, the list goes on. But in terms of an arena like the BK Arena, that's on ground consistently, that people can come into, host shows, plug and play. We don't have any in Nigeria.
You don't have any?
We don't. The artists are now pushing the government to support them and build something like that. In Ghana, where I was 3 days ago, one of the biggest headlines out of Ghana was Mr. Easy asked the government in Ghana to partner with him. He was going to put $2 million on the table. He wanted the Ghanaian government to partner with him to build a space for festivals like Dirty Rave. He hosts festivals in Ghana every year for 8,000-9,000 people, but they have to do it outdoor because they don't have a venue like BK Arena. You know?
It's very risky doing kind of show outdoor.
Because the production cost is more. The sound, because it's open air. So if you give them venues like a BK Arena now, the industry is going to develop. So when it comes to infrastructure, I have to tell you that Rwanda is definitely in the top 3 in this continent.
For information, that is one you saw. There's another one a bit away of the city.
Exactly.
In Rusoro, we have another huge one.
So that's infrastructure on ground.
Yeah.
So because of that, it allows the fans here, their structure. Look at, we finished the festival, the concert, and we walked out of the arena, and everybody went home easily, seamlessly.
Yeah.
These are things that it's taking a lot of time for governments in maybe Nigeria and Ghana to find ways to do, because the town planning did not plan for these things. So they're catching up with the success of Afrobeats and entertainment. But in Rwanda, you guys have planned ahead. Whether, Rwandese music or the entertainment industry has become big or not, the government has decided to invest in those.
Yeah.
So now, the bigger the band or Bruce Melody or the likes of DS Dola or Kivumbi or Kevin Kadi, the bigger they get, they can walk into different arenas and do shows. And let's even forget the big arenas. Kigali Universe, when I came 4 months ago, they had an award ceremony there. The next day, they had a rap concert there. They changed the venue around to be able to accommodate those 2 different type of events. And that's Kigali Universe.
Yes.
And you have multiple places like that around. So when it comes to infrastructure, you guys have to understand that that's one thing that you're competing at the highest level, not only in Africa, but I think around the world when it comes to Rwanda and Kigali. And you guys have to be proud of that.
You got a chance to go on stage. How did you rate the production skills? Let's talk about sound, light, everything. How was that?
Sound was fantastic. So most times when I go to concerts, even though I have access to be around the stage and a little bit closer to the stage, I always want to go and enjoy in the audience as a fan, because that's the best way you'll be able to view the concert. You hear what the fans are hearing, you see what the fans are seeing. So sometimes when you're on stage, the speakers are loud, and you think everybody's having a good time, but really front of house is terrible. So most times I'm in the audience, and yesterday I was in the audience. I was in the audience for the majority of the night, especially when Bruce was performing. I was in front of the stage. I could hear what everybody was hearing. And when you also want to know if the fans are getting exactly what you're delivering on stage, look at the highest seats in the arena. Look at how they're reacting. If they're getting up and singing along, that means that the quality of the production is touching them at the height of the room. Because sometimes when you buy tickets and you're sitting up there, you don't get to feel the energy. You don't see the artist close by. But if you look at the arena, there are big screens in the middle, there are big screens on stage. So if you're far away, you can get just as much as somebody sitting in front. So the production was great. And when the band was performing, I was in the booth. So I was watching from a completely different view, and it was the same thing. So people in the VIP booths as well, they can get sound quality. They could see what he was doing with his dancers on stage, the choreography, the colors of his outfits. Everything touched all of us. And again, if you didn't have a good venue, great production on ground, the artists will be spending more money and time trying to make sure that everybody in the arena feels it. And that's where other artists across the continent are suffering, you know. Because
that is a perspective actually from somebody who's been on stage, in front of the stage, and of course in the VIP booth. So you really had a chance to witness everything all around the corner.
Absolutely.
That's amazing.
That for me is very, very important. When you come to shows like this, or when you come to countries like this, I want to listen to the music. I want to see how the people are feeling. I want to hear what they're hearing. I want to be in spaces that any average fan can be in. That way, you're not delusional about what the stories are, because I'm not just chilling with the VIP where everything is nice. No, I want to be where the common ticket buying fan is going to be in. And that's what I experienced yesterday. It was amazing, groundbreaking.
Tell us about the performances, especially from the two boys, because they're the ones everybody was waiting for last night. Tell us about the
expectations were very high. When I got the phone call from, Coach Gael and the 155 AM team to come over and saying that Bruce and the band were putting whatever type of differences aside to come on stage and bring fans together. First of all, you have to give a big shout out to both artists, because across Africa, this is something that we're preaching. Whether it's Nigeria, we want Whiskey, Davido, Burna Boy to come together. Whether it's Ghana, we want Shatawale, Stone Boy, Sarkodie to come together. I saw Shatawale on stage with Sarkodie a couple days ago. Historic. And to come here, I was here to witness the same thing. Now, their performances, again, these are musicians. Bruce for me is I've seen him in the studio. He loves music. He loves performing. He loves singing.
So much.
He focuses on singing and performing to the audience. And yesterday was no different. He did exactly that. I think he had a 9-piece band, 6 backing vocalists, and the instrumentalists, from saxophonist to bass guitarist to lead guitarist. I was watching everything, and everything came together just right. Not only are you enjoying what he's doing, I'm watching the fans too. I want to see if they're getting exactly what I'm getting and what he's giving. Because sometimes the artist might be performing on stage thinking he's doing the best. And you see fans just sitting down thinking, nah, man, this ain't it. Yesterday, that wasn't it. For Bruce, he gave a 5-star performance. I've seen him perform before in Kenya, but this was different. This was performing at home. The stakes are high. This is home base. If your fans cannot go crazy and really give you a 5-star mark, then you've lost big time.
Big time. Because
first show of the year.
First show of the year. It's home.
It's home.
And of course, you kind of racing with one of the best.
It's crazy.
In town,
Exactly. So when I saw the band as well, I've seen clips of the band perform in the past. And I think one thing that he does incredibly well is that he brings a show on stage. The choreography, the colors, the outfit is well thought out. These are superstars that have been at the top of their game for a long time. So walking into arenas like this is not new. Last year, I know the band had the same concert at the BK Arena. I saw it through my friend Smith's Insta story at the time, and I was like, whoa, what's this? So to now be in the VIP pool, to be watching him do exactly this, the guest stars he brought on, how those changed the energy again. It was beautiful. Each one of them had different guest stars, but they all got the same reaction. So their selections of collaborators on stage was fantastic.
It was amazing.
It was amazing. It was amazing.
Now we have these allegations. People saying that the band did a playback performance, which he actually spoke about in the press conference after the show, and he dubbed it a looped live performance. Have you had a chance to actually concentrate on his type of performance?
Let me tell you one thing that people need to understand about musicians. Whether it's Chris Brown, whether it's Wizkid or Burna Boy, when you're performing live, there are also elements of your music that's in the background. A lot of people do that. Some people, they don't do it, and that's fine. other people, they do it. There are elements of either your backing vocals or some other elements of your vocals that are in the background whilst your band is also playing to that. Maybe yesterday the band might have had some elements of his vocals in the band, but the band was playing. I saw the drummer, I saw the guitarist, I saw the keyboardist actually moving. It might not be a complete live set of 15 band members, but who cares? Music is about how you interpret your own performances. Let me even go further. There are artists right now that I'm personally telling, you don't need a live band. Rema just headlined at the Afro Future in Ghana. Do you know how many people were on stage with Rema? Let me tell you. He's DJ and hype man, and he's electronic guitarist. The third person was Rema.
Only those?
Only those. I've got videos, I'll show you. Only those. So the elements of his music that was being played by the DJ, yes, there were live dubs there that the band had recorded.
Yes.
But it also had elements of his backing vocals and his sound. So the DJ pressed play on that. Rema had a microphone and his electronic guitarist was right next to him, and that was it. But guess what? He got a 5-star rating for his performance because he gave a performance. Chris Brown. The last time you saw Chris Brown travel with a band will probably be about 6-7 years ago. His live music has been dubbed in. So his sound engineer just presses play whilst Chris Brown is on stage. And he allows him to do more with the stage because he has about 15 dancers, different types of sets. If he carries the band along with that, that will be a lot of stress. So I think a lot of people that are criticizing the band also need to get out of, this community and go and research on what other greats around the world are doing. It's about a performance. It's not, live music does not make you the greatest musician. Yes, it's a necessity for the art, but now there are different levels to live instrumentation. Burna Boy travels with over, I think his band is about 30 or 40. You cannot compare. We're talking about the height of performances there. This is somebody that takes every element of his music. From the time Burna Boy records a song, they've already started to break that song down to how it will be presented live. Not every musician does that. So when you see him on stage, what you hear in the music is also what you're going to hear on stage. Some people suffer when they release songs and they perform it live. It sounds different. It's almost like, are we listening to a different song?
Because they can't bring everything from the song on stage.
That's it.
So sometimes people really needs to understand that and get about it.
Absolutely.
We understand. So that's his views at ADESOPE, ladies and gentlemen. All the way from Nigeria. He's a host. He's an Afrobeat ambassador, and we actually live on Isiwo TV. Trying to jazz with him and talk about the music progression in Africa. You know what time it is, ladies and gentlemen? The show. So we're gonna take a short musical break. Then we'll be right back. DJ Mo is with us. Stay tuned. Let's go, DJ. Brand new. We back, ladies and gentlemen, brand new song, Bruce Melody, featuring Diamond Platnumz and of course Joe Brown. Nizere ko baryoye cyane rero iyi track abantu mwese mukurikiye The Stress Live kuri Isiwo TV. Yeah man, DJ, thank you so much for the tune, man. And this track is really going viral. Abantu benshi cyane barimo kuyikunda ariko n'abandi batayumva nyine. And I guess it's because it's a new style. This is a style South Africa is trying to push of 3-step. That's probably some people are not understanding it.
Yep. That's the new step. That's the new vibe. It's moved from amapiano now to 3-step, and Afro House obviously has always been there. But it's it's a smart move that Bruce decided to jump on that sound and then bring his brothers from. So there are two important things I wanted to say about this song. First of all, you have Bruce Melody from Rwanda.
Yeah.
You have Diamond Platinums from Tanzania.
Yeah.
You have Brown Joel from Nigeria. The production was by a Ghanaian producer.
Oh.
The video was shot by a Ugandan director.
Such a vibe.
This is Africa at its finest. This is what we want. What we hear and what we see on this song is people coming together on the continent and working together. And yesterday was the first time I've ever seen anything like that. I've been in I think it was a concert by Wizkid in London where he announced a collaboration with Burna Boy at the O2 Arena in 2021. But this time, I ran on stage to go and tell Bruce Melody that the video was on the screen and he should present it to the 10,000 people in the arena. And he announced that video, and before the video went on YouTube, everybody in the BK Arena were the special guests to watch that video for the first time. And you could see the way people were reacting at every single moment, whether they saw Bruce, they saw Diamond Platinums, they saw Brown Joel. That was a different type of experience, and it was an incredible business move by the 155 AM team to say, listen, we have 10,000 people here. Let's advertise our new video to them.
Yes.
And that's probably why the song is now even going viral this morning, because the people in the room, they felt special on their snaps, on their Instagram, TikTok, and then they took it out and went to watch it again on YouTube. So it was a brilliant move, man, and a fantastic song.
What do you love most about the song?
I just think choruses are very important. It has to be catchy. You know, if you don't have a catchy chorus, you know, it's going to be tough for people to remember the record, even though it can be a brilliant lyrics or fantastic instrumentation. Boom, boom, boom. Yeah, that catches everybody. Whether you know what they're talking about or you don't, that chorus, everybody instantly repeats it. The beat was fantastic, the way it came in at the beginning, the 3-step. But the chorus for me, the hook, is what captivates me, and that's what's going to sell the song.
The hook is hooking.
And of course, the hook is hooking. But Diamond Platinum's verse, we already see what that's doing on social media. You know, it's one thing to get a great hook, but it's also another thing to get a fantastic verse that goes viral. If you listen to Davido's song with Omale, his verse, Sweet Fanta Diallo, I know we forget you. That verse took the song to the next level.
Big time.
Even though it was a fantastic record, a great hook, but that viral verse is the same thing we got in Pom Pom, in the sense that, yes, it's a great hook, but Diamond Platinum's verse, that takes that song to the next level. And for the next couple of months, we're going to really see the impact of that verse, because people are already doing videos on TikTok to that verse in itself. And that's a running commercial that Bruce and the entire team will be very happy about.
Yeah, big time. And it's a very big record, as you say, and these artists really coming together is what we need for the African movement, of course, when it comes to our music. That's the way to go. And one last thing I want you to tell us about this song. What does it take an artist to push his song to the global platforms?
It's a very big question, you know, and I know a lot of artists, not only in Rwanda but East Africa, are asking those questions. Number one is collaborations. Strategic collaborations are key to getting your music to the other parts of the world. You have to understand that every African community has a large diaspora. Rwandese people, a lot of people in Belgium, there are a lot of people in Sweden, there are a lot of people in Denmark. So when you're collaborating with someone from Rwanda, you're also touching their diaspora markets. Nigeria has a huge diaspora in the UK, Germany, the United States of America. If you collaborate with a Nigerian artist and you get a good song, there's a potential to get into those markets. So collaborations, strategic collaborations are number one. It helps you to go beyond your own audience. Number two, we know that the streaming platforms have almost dominated the music industry for a while. You need to make sure that you're ensuring that you're trying to at least do digital marketing. whether it's getting playlists. So a lot of investment has to go to digital marketing, YouTube marketing, Spotify, Apple. That's key. And number three, you cannot take going to the local countries for granted.
Yeah.
If you're from Rwanda, when you release music, you must be going to Uganda. You must be going to Tanzania. You must be going to Burundi. You have to go to Kenya. Those are the markets that will help you to elevate the music and to go into their diaspora market. So for me, those are the key points. And I think a lot of musicians, even though some of them might cost a lot more money,
Yeah.
but the key one that starts you going into other markets first is strategic collaborations. Look at those and they will help elevate your music to the other markets.
Wow, that's very nice. We'll actually try and talk about the brand new song Bruce Melody featuring Diamond Platnumz and Joe Brown, and of course those are the supposed views. And let's talk about him trying to push Afrobeat to the world. Yeah, why did you decide that? Why do you think you really have that mission of pushing the Afrobeat music to the world?
It was identity for me. Based in the UK, coming from Nigeria, as an immigrant in the UK, we had no voice. You know, as African immigrants, it was very difficult for us. We were at the bottom of the food chain. We didn't hear our music at the clubs, on the radios. We didn't have spaces where we went to celebrate each other, apart from maybe it's a naming ceremony, a birthday, wedding, those type of things. Or we have national kind of Independence Day ceremonies. So Nigeria will have theirs, Ghana will have theirs, Kenya will have theirs, those type, Uganda will have theirs. So it was really, really few and far in between. So when I had
just for your own community.
Yeah. So when I had the miraculous opportunity to be on a pirate radio station, it was for me just to listen to the music that I grew up listening to, and hopefully people that I was playing the music to on radio would also be happy to hear it. And then I started to get reactions from friends and family who were just happy to listen to African music on the radio. The kind of confidence it gave them, the joy it brought to their households or when they were driving in their cars. And you know, sometimes you only need a little bit of encouragement to push you even further. Those were the encouragements that I needed. That people actually want to hear African music. They want to feel included. And that just became another step that helped the drive. And then when our artists started to come to London to perform, we started going there, press conferences, celebrating these guys because they're superstars to us, but unknown to the UK market, but they're big to us. Yeah. So now our job is not only celebrating them in our community, but celebrating them so much that other communities looked at them and appreciated who they were. And I think it was one step after the other. And then now that we're where we are, selling out at the O2 Arena, stadiums in Europe, from Burna Boy, Whiskey, Davido, all these big superstars, we now understand that it's not a Nigerian thing by itself. It's an African movement.
It's an African movement.
You know, if one people are enjoying the benefits or at the forefront of it, when they get tired, what happens to African pop culture? So we need to ensure that we're encouraging everybody, whether it's Ghana, Uganda, Tanzania, Rwanda, everybody needs to get in and promote their own culture. Because after all, when we see each other, before we start telling ourselves that, oh, I'm an Efwala Kitty boy from Nigeria, they see an African first.
Yeah.
So
that's what comes
to
first.
them, we are one. Until the barriers came up, Africa was one. We were only divided by tribes. And I think we need to go back to that mentality where Africa is one place and we are just individual tribes. That's all it is. And I think that's what really has fueled my passion for promoting my culture. Everywhere I go, I see the difference in my kids. You know, at the time when my first child was born, you know, African music was not being played. And now, her playlist is full of all sorts of music. Congolese music, high life from Ghana, every type of music that you can name in this world. And they are the ones that are now dictating how parties in the UK go.
I like that.
The UK radio stations have playlists full of African music. And that's because of the work that people like myself and many others before me and after me have done. But this is what encourages us. And look at me. This is the longest I've stayed away from my family in over 20-something years. I went to Nigeria. I went to Ghana. Now I'm in Rwanda because of African music.
Because of African music. Yeah, that's crazy. And when did you move to UK?
I moved to the UK in 2002. So over 24 years ago now.
24 years.
Yeah, I had studied in Nigeria University, and then after that I moved to the UK and basically started my life from the scratch, you know, working in civil service, working for the government, and then promoting Afrobeats became like a hobby for me. You know, just a hobby, something different.
So you really thought about pushing the Afrobeat since that time?
Yes.
20, more than 20 years ago.
Absolutely.
That's what we call a vision.
Absolutely.
Congratulations.
More than 20 years ago.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
I like that. It's amazing. And it's happening.
Yes.
You live in a dream.
No, listen, this is, in a couple of months' time, we're going to have Sarkodie at the Royal Albert Hall in London on the 6th of March. The Royal Albert Hall is where...
When your capacity?
It's about 5,000.
Oh, yeah.
That's where the king enjoys entertainment.
Yeah.
We've only had Wizkid in there. We've only had Fireboy in there. We've only had Asha in there and Angelique Kidjo. Now they're opening their doors to another African from Ghana in Sarkodie. And I think this is another reason why I'm here, to also ensure that I encourage people like Bruce, people like the Ben, you know. I was in Sweden a couple months ago. Elements was on stage right next to Kiss Daniel. You know, we need more. We need you to come out there. The audience wants you. The audience want to see you. They want to celebrate their music. They want to embrace their culture. But if we don't take those bold steps of getting out of the country, what happens is it's just going to be a few names that we'll keep mentioning. Wizkid, Davido, Burna Boy, Tiwa Savage, Rema, Ashake, Emi Alade, you know. But everybody has the audience there. Fally Ipupa did London 2 years ago. For the first time in history, he sold close to 10,000 tickets. First ever show. He's never on the radio playlist. He's never on the DJ playlist. But the African community came out to watch Fally Ipupa.
Wow.
Because we wanted to watch African music.
Wow.
And that's what we can do for the likes of, you know, Bruce Melody and other artists that are here. We're waiting. Yes, Afrobeats is successful. Nigerian artists are great, but we also want diversity. We want different aspects of Africa shown.
Yeah. Before we top up the interview, I have some curious questions that I wanna hear something from you.
Yes.
Somebody you know's been around different musicians. You probably have heard stories that are really personal on those artists. You first tell me there is an incident that recently happened on Burna Boy, which was not good between him and a fan.
Yes.
Did that really impacted him to the extent people did not want to come to his shows? The likes of his performance in US. Was it something that really impacted him, or it wasn't that?
Any kind of negative press would affect anybody. You know, negative press is what it is. It's negative. It was a moment that was an error of judgment. He apologized and continued to work. And you have to understand, these are entertainers who, especially somebody like Burna Boy, who is traveling more than 90% of the whole year. He's on tour 90% of the whole year, performing every single night to tens of thousands of people. There will be moments where, as a human being, you will make an error. Everybody does that. But it didn't affect him. He finished his tour in America gracefully. He closed it out. I believe it was a sold-out concert in Boston or one of those cities. I've forgotten what it was. 10,000 capacity. He's going to continue the tour in Europe. In the next 2 weeks, I think the 15th of January, the tour starts in Europe again. Yes, you know, we have to understand that there are moments, there are slip-ups that artists and any human being can make. But the most important thing is this. Burna Boy has done more for Afrobeats and African pop music than most people in the last 7 years. Where he has touched boundaries, he has broken doors, he has opened. by not only his incredible music, but his amazing performances. Because of Burna Boy, some people now want to go and see African artists. Because you know, when you pay to watch this man, he's going to give you every single thing on stage. So that moment was, yes, it was bad, but it never affected him. He finished the show, the tour in America gracefully to sold out venues, and he's about to take up in Europe again and continue doing it. It was just a learning moment for not only him, but all of us as human beings. From his mistake, we now know how to also behave in those type of situations. So if someone doesn't make a mistake, others don't know how to act when those challenges are presented to you. That's what I take from that.
I see. Another curious question. Someone who's been close to Wizkid and Tiwa Savage, have these people really dated?
Have they what?
Have they dated?
No way. So here is another thing that people need to understand. Musicians are also actors. When you watch music videos, what you see is an act.
Yes.
When you see them performing on stage, what you see is an act. They had collaborations together, multiple collaborations, two different collaborations, My Law, Bad, and I think they were on a song with DJ Spinall together. 3.
Yes.
And then Tiwa Savage played the love interest of Wizkid in the Fever record.
Yeah.
That's 4 incredible moments together.
Yeah.
Romantic verses, romantic lyrics, romantic performances on screen, on stage. Everybody was going to speculate that they were getting together. But
including the surprise performances.
Exactly.
Concerts,
so that's always going to encourage that type of news. And sadly, you know, some of those perception also helps to market the music.
Yeah.
You know, the fact that people think that they're getting together, they're in relationships, it also helps. You know, when Tiwa Savage shows up at Wizkid's show, everybody goes crazy. When they hug each other and they look like they're about to kiss, everybody goes crazy. There's an act there. You know, of course, in terms of personal relationships, I don't have that type of information, but I know them very well to know that what all of us saw on videos and on stages was 100% an act.
Oh, yeah.
100%.
Staged.
Yeah, of course.
Crazy. Let's talk about your podcast. That's probably going to be my last question.
Yes.
Name of the podcast, where to watch it from?
The Afrobeats podcast. You can get it on YouTube, on any platform, YouTube, Spotify, Apple. The Afrobeats podcast is exactly what it is. It's me sitting down with some of the most important people in Afrobeats and African pop music as a whole. So I created this podcast just to have our own platform where I can interview entertainers and people like yourselves, DJ Moo, anybody that talks about African pop culture, that works in that space. What I wanted was a space of mine that I can invite people in, have positive conversations to promote our music, our people, our culture, and not rely on platforms, particularly in the UK. Because what happens is they can take you off that platform like this, and you lose your microphone, you lose your voice. So it's time for us to create our own platforms that we can continue to drive the conversation. I've got a new interview there that just came out yesterday featuring Scales. Where he's talking about, you know, the Lamin Yamal, Shake Body, and other important conversations. And that's why I created the Afrobeats podcast. So check it out. YouTube, Apple, Spotify, every platform out there.
Yeah. Afrobeat podcast.
Yes.
That's the name of the show. I like that. Yo, should we call it there?
You can call it a day, my brother. It's a
you want to say something before you actually...
Listen, I'm just going to say to the people here that Rwanda is as important as Nigeria or Ghana or South Africa when it comes to African pop music and African pop culture. People celebrate your music and your culture when they see you celebrating it. Your audience, your artists rely and depend on the audience's support to get to the next level. The support you gave the band and Bruce Melody yesterday, continue to give it to every single Rwandese artist, because that is what serves as their base and takes them to the next level. and the world is waiting to hear from you. So thank you very much for having me.
Pleasure, man. Appreciate. Now dusoreje rero ikiganiro twagirana na ADESOPE, twe turafata akaruko gato k'umuziki. We'll be right back. Stay tuned. DJ Mo is taking over and we're here. Yes.
The Choice Live.